We're putting our bottom edge on down here, but we've stopped up at this point because there's like an order of operations. As we get into this part here, it ties into this. We've got our bottom piece, and I put that high heat primer on this side. We're going to tack that onto the bottom, and once we've got that on, then I've kind of got some templates over here, cardboard templates, and some scrap metal that we're going to cut that out of for our two pieces that are going to go in here. And then all of this will kind of get all kind of put in together along with this bottom lip that we're putting on. What we had done earlier was we went down to the hardware store. We found some of this corner metal. I've seen it. I figured it'd work good for this purpose. I tacked it in here. So basically what I've done is because this hole from the front to the back over here is not true. It's not straight. It'll go in the back. It'll kind of come out gradually and then go back in again in the front. But what I ended up doing was I put in these slices in here to help achieve that shape. Another thing that I did was I cut the lip off of the sill plate here, and then I put that down, and we get that back in place. And then I kind of go off of the edge of the sill plate as also a bit of a guide to make sure that we've got it correct. Now, after we've tacked that into place, then we went and got some metal for the bottom here, and all this is just 2-inch flat. I start tacking that on here. I did the same thing. I would make some slices in behind, and then these are all segmented as well, again, to try and get that shape that we need. So I kind of start in from the back. This back corner was my starting point here. I overhang the end. We're going to find out where we want to trim that and continue on with our shape. Again, there's our sill plate to basically help guide us to where we want that support metal to be. And then we tack it into this corner here. Now, in my case, what I had to do was I made a slice from the bottom up. And the reason I did that was because the factory body metal, this corner was actually pushed in quite a bit. So I just want to make this more level or parallel with the door space here. I made a slice from here to here. I put that gap in the bottom and I kicked it out to even it off with the door here. I started here and then we're working our way along. We had to stop there because now we got to put this piece in. So we've welded our bottom patch in here, seam welded that all the way around. We've got that in place. We've prepped our area here and we've got our two pieces to go in there. Put our high heat primer in, and then we're just going to fit those in. Seam weld those all along here. And I do believe this piece here, the way it is it'll end up touching this bottom and then eventually open up, probably from this corner to there will remain open to match that. Okay, so as we look in from this side, we're going to have to continue on our 90-degree angle, which will continue to go that way. So we might have to take this metal and bend it back up just like we did here, and get another piece of this and then extend it that way. And then on this side, you can see there where that metal will get extended up and that 90 will get extended out. Then we need to see how we're going to fasten everything together in here. First, what we're going to do is we're going to put our patch pieces in here. We'll establish that gap that we want, and then we'll just tack that all along. And then after those are done, then we'll move on to the next thing. Here's a quick look at those two pieces that are tacked in there. Again, you want your space all the way around. You want a nice space because that's where you're filling the metal in, and that's the actual where it's connecting. That's the adhesion part, right? You butt them too close together, you're not going to get like a full good weld. Here we got our filler metal in, and we seam welded that all the way around, right here and here, and this is all seam welded up and up there. When we take a look at the bottom here, we see that it's seam welded to this corner, and then this is where it starts to kick out and go wherever it wants to go. We have that inner skin in behind there, so we're not worried about anything really there. And you don't need to grind anything smooth because this is all going to be behind the fender, but I just kind of knocked down all the high spots on the weld there. Next, we're going to try and achieve this. We're going to continue this 90-degree strip, and we're going to bring that out, and we've got to put the fender on, see how far out it's got to go, and match up with the fender. We've finished that strip all the way out to here. Again, we got some extra material here because then that's going to be trimmed out to follow this wheel well arch. And then the next stage is I've got this 90-degree angle iron in there. And then, as I explained before, we've got our supports here. This is all leveled up, and then we've stacked up some metal. What I did was I C-clamped a piece of square tubing to hold that nice and tight in there with the 90-degree. The measurement I used from the frame to the edge of the lip here was 12 3/8 inches front and back. So that's going to square it out. And then, as you notice, this is all tapered in here. Right about back there is flush. And then as we progress to here, it tapers inwards. I just kind of got all this loosely put into place. And then what I did was I want to make sure I got a consistent gap all the way along. And here we are at the back. And we try and made that gap consistent all the way along from front to back. I've basically checked it 3 different ways and 3 different times to make sure that it's level here. This is our base here, and then we just keep stacking metal until we've got it here, and then we've got our gap. We always need that gap in there. Same as we need the gap here, we need the gap there. So everything is ready to be tacked on, but we're not going to tack that yet. As I mentioned once before, we've got these little gussets that we're putting in there. That's the cardboard template that I'm using to stick in behind there. That's just going to give it some more support all the way along. This gusset ends up going in behind here, and then it's going to attach to the bottom of the sill plate portion, and then it's going to attach to here, and then this little notch here is where that's going to attach the angle iron as well. We can tack it here, 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 on the top, in the back, everything but the bottom. Once we tack that to all the surrounding metal, that'll make it good and strong, and we won't have to worry about anything that way. So again, we're using the cardboard to find out what our shape needs to be, and that is because, as you can see, it's going to change in the front compared to in the back here. As we're going along here, I use the cardboard to fit and find out the shape that we need, and then I use that on here, and then I'm going to trim. The way that I designed this was going to be the piece that gets trimmed on this end here, and then on the bottom. Those are the 2 pieces that get trimmed to make it fit into place where it needs to go. Well, we're going to have our series of gussets. We want to have all those built. So we'll build those, we'll mark them where they need to go. And then once we have those built, we'll stick those into place in behind the 90-degree, and then we can start tacking everything together. If I try tacking this angle iron on before the fact, it's going to be difficult possibly for me to get those into place because the shape of them and how they fit in there.